And hello, people of the internet. How's it going today? How you doing? This is Billy Bones. This is a walk through the mind. Sit down and take a couple minutes, and we're going to see if we can't hash out a couple ideas and have fun with it. So, in, again, somewhat recent news from when I'm recording this, and even still, it's been a little while. But President Trump announced that there will be Space Force, be Space Marines. Now, I recall hearing it earlier than when he took the office. I think one of the National Defense Authorization Acts that Obama signed actually got the ball rolling to invest in Space Marines. And then Trump gets the fun time of saying it and announcing it. And everybody gets to go on fear-mongering and we're kind of a dick when it comes to military prowess, but at the same time, it's kind of how we exist as Americans. That is our product. As mean and as cruel as it is to say, I don't know if any of you have heard Dwight Eisenhower's farewell speech, but it's well known for mentioning the Military Industrial Complex. And if we can take a moment of silence and we can let him take over, and I'll catch you here in a second. Uh-oh, it's not playing. Let's try this again.
Immense military establishment and a large...
Dang it. I apologize. I'm still learning, people. Love you guys. Thanks for your patience.
Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
So I know he said a lot in there, but the total influence economical, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. It's the military-industrial complexes all throughout everything. And rightfully so, we should be afraid of what damage it can do. Power, as I've discussed before, is easily corruptible. You throw a couple dollars at someone and we can change some minds. But it's also, like I said, the lifeblood of us here in the United States. And if we can, there's so much military investment that comes down and is used in everyday life, because the spending of the government on military investments gets to break down to consumer life. There's people that say that the government is 10 years ahead in technology than we here in civilian life. That's because things are expensive to research and to test again, and things fail. So you got to put a lot of money into it. And once the initial investment's paid off or found to be reasonable, then you start mass marketing it and things become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And then eventually it comes to the civilian market, and then we as civilians get to invest in it. Time, energy, thought processes on it. And then we can make our own improvements and build on it. So we've got the Military Industrial Complex, a machine that eats money in terms of defense spending. I believe, don't quote me, but I believe NASA falls or obtains some of the defense money. But either way, we live on a rock, hurtling through space in a cosmic shooting gallery. Asteroids everywhere. You know what took out the dinosaurs? Asteroids. So we might not be facing aliens. We could be. Who knows? With our space marines. But if we're going to send, we're going to justify military spending to send these marines up into space. And part of that money spent is going to go towards companies that are going to get the marines up there safely. And part of that is also going to make sure that they can fly to avoid space rocks. And we want that done cheaply. This is the community dollar. We're all paying our taxes to make sure the Space Marines get up into space safe. But once there's a proven way to do it cost effectively, because flying into space, as far as I understand, is not cheap, but cost effective, then there will be a reason for the person or the group of people that invent this idea to spread it out to the private sector. Even further so. And someone has to find the way to mass market it and get that so that way you and I can then go up to space. We'll send the Space Marines up. They'll clear the field. They'll make sure everything's safe. Whatever's up there. Through that investment, you and I get to go fly into space. One way or another. Or maybe we end up with transport ships. You get a handful of Marines in there, and you get a handful of people, and you get yourself, it's the new Oregon Trail. So you don't want to send a group of civilians to a planet that everything looks hunky-dory, and then all of a sudden something goes hostile. I don't want to go dismal on it, but you never know what's out there. Our settlers that came across the United States and even across Europe years and years and years and years and years ago, and everybody who traveled with weapons. So why not, to a point, let's look on the bright side of the Military Industrial Complex. Let's not forget the downsides to it. Never forget anything about the potential downsides for this. But I think there's a way to take a glance at the upside. We can hope for the best. We can all agree that, it'd be nice if everybody could get along, but people don't get along. We can agree to disagree to get along. We all don't have to be best friends. But as of right now, we're all living on this rock together. So let's go ahead and invest in the military industrial complex. Let's get some spaceships. Let's get some space taxis. Go flying around the galaxies. Be pretty fun. So I know this one went kind of on the crazy side of things. This is just a handful of ideas. Just a quick walk through the mind. You can love it, you can hate it. You can even think I made some stupid points. I got no problem with that. Let's take these ideas and let's see what we can grow with them. I'm on Twitter at Billy Bones, BILLYBON3S. I've got a website under the same spelling. You can find the contact information there, the RSS feed, and whatever else I got going on. So go check it out. Questions, comments, love mail, hate mail. Send it all. Love you guys.